Let me say for the record that the assessor team is not the commission, and that the assessor team acts only as the eyes and ears of the commission and does not have the authority to confer or rescind accreditation status. The comments made and the information presented during the on-site and certainly during this exit interview are preliminary in nature and may be modified prior to or during the full commission's hearing on the agency. Okay. Over the past 4 days, the assessor team has toured your facility, visited many of your offices and workspaces, did ride-alongs, conducted nearly 60 interviews ranging from the mayor, city council member, chambers of commerce, judges, attorneys, state representatives, and many citizens, to name but a few. We also spoke with representatives of other criminal justice agencies, state and federal law enforcement officials, and a number of sheriffs and police chiefs, the media, and volunteer organizations. In addition, we received input from the community through the telephone call-in and the public information session. While we acknowledge that there are still much about this agency that we don't know, we can say some things with a reasonable degree of assurance. The Peachtree City Police Department has a strong community-centered approach to policing that incorporates a variety of community-focused programs and special response units. This approach to policing has earned your agency the support and respect of the city government, the business community, and the residents of Peachtree City. Both Lieutenant Biller and I have tried to speak informally with as many members of the staff as we could in an effort to get a better understanding of their roles and responsibilities within the agency, and to occasionally provide suggestions as to how things can continue to improve as you start towards your next on-site process. During these conversations with members of the staff and other folks who interact with the agency, a couple of suggestions were noted and are passed along here for whatever value they may have. First of all, a lot of accolades for the manner in which your agency came together and continued to move forward after the shooting incident involving your former chief. Your agency has had to deal with some difficult issues to get here, but the silver lining in that is that you now have a clear understanding of the kind of success that you can achieve, notwithstanding who finally ends up sitting in the chief's chair. And that's a good thing. We received a number of very favorable comments regarding the community liaison officers and school resource officer programs and the work that they're doing throughout the city. Strive to continue to build upon that, because those are good things. Again, a number of very favorable comments were received regarding the department's efforts to recruit from your various minority communities. This is an area of importance to the commission, and when they review your agency, they be prepared to speak about your ongoing efforts in this area. The criminal justice folks were highly complimentary of the way that the agency's investigative staff work and the good job they do with regard to case preparation and ongoing contact with the prosecutors. And that, of course, gives you a good chance for successful prosecution. It was noted that some of the goals identified in the agency's strategic plan were not always the same goals and issues mentioned during many of our interviews that we conducted. This might, to some extent, create the impression that not all the horses are pulling in the same direction. And while we understand that everything changes with time and events, it might be a good thing to at least annually sit down with everyone in the command staff and come together on exactly what your priorities are. The budget process is often a good time to do that. We found that the agency has very solid general orders in place. We did run into one small fly in the ointment with regard to the standard dealing with the communication center generator, but that's been resolved. The only thing I would suggest there, again, is there is an accreditation process for communication centers, and to the extent that you can influence them, I would try to lead them in that direction. And should they get through the accreditation process, that makes your life a lot simpler with regard to that. We received many other very encouraging and supportive comments that it would probably take too long to speak to all of them here. But for the record, we did find that the agency is well respected, well supported, both within the larger law enforcement and criminal justice system, but also by your community. They really think very highly of you, and that's speaks to, I'm sure, not just hours and days, but weeks and months and years of building that relationship. It's paying off for you. Probably what you want to hear from us is that the assessor team has found that your agency is in compliance with all of the applicable mandatory standards and with 95.3% of the other than mandatory standards. And for those of you that are not CALEA buffs, you can comply with as few as 80% of the other than mandatory standards. And as I say, you guys are at 95.3%, so you're well above minimum requirements. So that being said, based upon the files that we reviewed, the numerous interviews that we conducted, and the various activities and observations that we made, and keeping in mind my initial caveat when I sat down here, it will be the unanimous recommendation of this assessor team that the Peachtree City Police Department be re-accredited for another 3-year period. So where do we go from here? My report must be on the program manager's desk by the end of the month. I can assure you it will be there before that. However, I do need to say a couple of things about that report. First, in accordance with CALEA policy, the assessor team's recommendation will not be listed in the report. You will get that information by separate letter. Secondly, my draft report is already more than 40 pages long. I'm still not done writing. But unfortunately, the final report can only be 25 pages. Therefore, a lot of really good information is going to end up on the cutting room floor. And I tell you that basically because a lot of you have worked very hard on this process, you're invested in it, and the folks that work for you have, again, allowed us to intrude into their workspaces, take time out of their schedule to talk to us, and they do deserve recognition and should be mentioned. Regrettably, because of the constraints of the report format, that's not going to happen to the extent that we would like for it to happen. The commission has to read 100 or more of these reports every time they have a commission hearing, and for their ability to get through all of that, they have pretty much dialed it down to 25 pages and have pretty strictly formatted what has to go into it. So again, please share with your people. It's not that their efforts weren't appreciated, their hospitality wasn't enjoyed. It's just that we can't put it all in there. If I had my way, I would probably devote 5 pages to your young canine officer that we just interviewed.
It wouldn't take that long to get all the words.
He was worth the price of admission, I got to tell you. I do again want to thank you all, and please convey to your colleagues that aren't here our sincere thanks for all of their hard work and their efforts, and the role they played in getting you to this point. I guess finally I want to encourage you all to stay engaged in the accreditation process. We know it's not easy. In a country that has somewhere north of 10,000 law enforcement agencies, fewer than 1,000 of them are nationally accredited. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. It's not easy. It's a lot of work, and we know that. So we appreciate the fact that you are engaged in it. We, again, hope that you will stay involved in your Georgia State Accreditation Coalition. that you will continue to assist and mentor other agencies as they go into the accreditation process. And as I have told the chief here, I strongly encourage that members of your staff, some of you sitting here at this table, train to be CALEA assessors and get involved in the CALEA assessment program. You'll be surprised at the benefits that you get, you individually, in being able to look at law enforcement agencies across the country, but also the things that you will bring back to your agency. We're all doing basically the same things, but occasionally you'll see people that are doing them in such a way that you say, gee, why didn't we think of that? You know, let's copy that, let's do that. So, again, you have my absolute sincere thanks for your excellent hospitality. We have been so well treated since we've been here. We appreciate your commitment to the process and your dedication. Again, we sincerely hope that you all see that the benefit of the accreditation process is worth all the hard work and effort that you all have put into it. I guess I'll shut up for a minute. And Brad, is there anything you'd like to
I've just got a whole lot to say and touching a couple of high spots that I saw. First of all, I'm very thankful that his report's already more than 40 pages because I've got a couple activities dragged up and I'm going to have to write quite so much now. But thank you very much for the hospitality folks showed us. I very much appreciated that. And I can honestly say that I didn't walk down the hallway and have somebody take the next left that before they got to me or any of those kind of things as they were approaching. Everybody was friendly, everybody was very approachable, and everybody was very willing to communicate with us. I spent about an hour and a half with you yesterday, kind of wore out your office with your presence, but that kept me from going other places, didn't it?
It worked. It took a lot of time.
Even though you guys faced some challenges coming into this thing, the recurring theme that I got was that you worked through it and you got to where we are today. And that says a lot right there of where you guys started, where you ended up, and where you are today. I think that speaks volumes right there. I got the opportunity to speak with Judge Sams yesterday. He was very complimentary of the agency, as was Peggy Glaze when I went out to see her and what's going on out there. And there was a bit of a hiccup with the communications thing, but I think they have a better understanding now of what some of those requirements are and where they need to go. And I would echo the Chief's comment that, you know, if you can push them toward getting accredited, that'll simplify things for you folks a lot. I got to speak with Chief Nelms this morning. I had gone through the EMA Operations Center yesterday or the day before, whenever that was. And you guys have a lot of really good things going on as it relates to emergency operations here. And you guys obviously are pushing hard to be able to be contributing members in that process. He had very good things to say about your preparation levels and what you were doing with the CERT team and all the other kind of stuff that goes into that. I really don't have much more to say other than to echo things that Dan had to say about you guys. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, you all are the heart of this agency, and for good or for ill, the department looks to you all. You all have come together remarkably well in this interim period. I can't tell you how many kudos I've got regarding your leadership. It's just, I think you all have taken a difficult situation and turned it to your advantage, and I think you're a better agency for it. Our fondest hope is that you get a chief who is worthy of you guys. So, that being said, let me ask if you all have any questions of us. And we're here informally to talk to you about this. If there are things about the process you didn't like, please feel free to share it with us. At the end of this process, after you've gone before the commission, so that there's no intimidation, you will be sent a critique form by CALEA to critique the process. Again, feel free to be as candid as you want to be with regard to what went well, what didn't go so well, what you'd like to see them change.